Welcome back to another build showcase, and today we're going to be going over one of my favorite builds in the game, and it involves Prismatic and Gyrfalcons. Let's jump right into it. Starting off with our subclass, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be running Prismatic Hunter subclass. We're going to be running the Deadfall, Shadow Shot, and realistically any of the ults work for this. I like Deadfall because it's a lot of AoE and good to suppress targets. For our dodge, Gambler's Dodge, and triple jump for our jump. These are kind of up to you. It doesn't really matter. But Gambler's Dodge is a really good way of getting your melee back. For our melee and grenade, we're going to be using the Threaded Spike as well as the Grapple. Now, the reason we're using the Threaded Spike as opposed to any of the other ones is because with the Threaded Spike, you sever enemies, and with this build, we're actually going to pull off Ascension here. With this build, Stylus Executioner on Prismatic, if you didn't know, grants you invisibility from any type of debuff. It does not matter what kind it is, which is great, because if you're not using the Prismatic subclass, then Stylus Executioner only grants you invisibility from void debuffs. So that's a good thing to know. So if you sever a target, then they are debuffed. You kill it, you get invisibility. Now moving on to our aspects, speaking of, we're going to be using Stylus Executioner because when you debuff an enemy, you're going to be getting invisibility and True Sight, which is huge. Also, your next melee attack weakens targets while invisible, which is honestly pretty huge. You hit them with the Threaded Spike, hit your Gambler's Dodge. You're invisible from killing an enemy that was debuffed, potentially with your Threaded Spike, or by killing it after it's done that. You dodge, you get another melee, you go invisible, you throw your Threaded Spike out, you've now weakened all of the targets that it hits. Our second aspect, we're going to be using Threaded Spectre. Why are we using Threaded Spectre? Because of the survivability. Activating your class ability leaves behind a decoy. That decoy will then let out threadlings when it's destroyed, but it draws the attention of all nearby combatants, making it much easier to survive. So while you're invisible, they're all focused on the Threaded Spectre. You can get into position to deal some massive damage. Moving on to our Fragments. Now, Fragments on Prismatic are really kind of personal choice, I think. A lot of them are really good. A lot of them do some of the similar things. Here's the ones that we're using for this build. We're using the Facet of Devotion. Defeating targets affected by stasis or strand debuffs grants bonus light transcendence, as well as it gives us plus 10 to our melee, increasing our melee stat. Facet of Purpose is our next one. This, picking up an Orb of Power, grants any one of these buffs: Bolt Charge, Restoration, Frost Armor, Woven Mail, or Overshield based on the type of your super, so we're going to be getting Overshield because we're using the Deadfall ult. Our second fragment, Facet of Blessing, starts health regeneration on melee kill. You're probably going to be getting a lot of melee kills because of the Threaded Spike. This is going to allow us to get some more survivability, get our regeneration up, as well as when we're Transcendent, it does it for us, plus all of our allies if we're in a party, which is very helpful. Moving on to our next fragment, the Facet of Bravery. Defeating targets with your Grenade Final Blow grants volatile rounds for your void weapons. Now this just gives us another way to get our volatile rounds up. We're going to be getting them a lot because of Gyrfalcons, but this just gives us an additional way to get that train started, because then when we have volatile rounds, when we kill an enemy, we'll be getting Stylus Executioner. As well as with a melee final kill, we can grant unraveling rounds to our strand weapons, furthering debuffing enemies and getting our invisibility back. And our final fragment, the Facet of Sacrifice. While you have Arc, Solar, or Void buff, your final blows grant Darkness Transcendence. We're going to have Overshield quite a lot from picking up Orbs of Power, so this is going to grant us a lot of Darkness Transcendence, allowing us to get our Transcendence up as often as possible. Plus it gives plus 10 grenade, which is always good. Adding stats is always good. Now moving on to our armor. First off, the key armor piece to this is going to be our Relativism Hunter Cloak. And we're going to be running Spirit of the Inmost Light to buff our abilities. Every time we use one ability, we're going to be buffing our other 2 abilities, which is huge. Additionally, the second perk on that is going to be Spirit of the Gyrfalcon. Gain volatile rounds after being invisible. This is kind of the key to this build, is constantly having volatile rounds up and just being able to obliterate our enemies with volatile rounds. Now let's jump into the mods. For our helmet, we are running a class mod to help get our class up. You want your class ability to be as high as possible. You want it to really be around that 70 mark or above at all times. Doesn't matter what build you're running. Reason being is because that is going to give you a full melee charge back. Whenever you use your class ability, it gives you the full effect of your class ability, whether it's reloading your gun or getting your melee back or whatever it happens to be. Then we've got the hands on, because we're going to gain super enemy on melee kills. We're going to be getting a lot of melee kills. We want that up as often as possible. For our mods, we actually need to change that. This is from a different build I was running. We're going to be running just harmonic siphons, because that will give us that'll give us orbs of power on void weapon kills, which is huge. Moving on to our arms, we're running another class mod, help get our class ability up. Now, for our mods, we're going to be running heavy-handed, getting orbs of power on melee final blows. And we're going to be running impact induction as well as momentum transfer to get our grenade and melee up as often as possible when we're using the 2 of them. Moving on to our armor, another class mod, and then I've got harmonic resistances on right now, but we'll switch those to whatever happens to be the threat of the activity, right? It doesn't really matter what it is, but you'll want to have those be set to whatever the threat is so that you're reducing the damage coming into you. And then a concussive dampener, I was like running one of these because it mitigates some of the area effect damage in this game. Moving on to our legs, we're running the class mod again. And then we're running Innervation, grants grenade cooldown anytime we pick up an orb of power. Invigoration, melee, anytime we pick up. And then a void weapon surge to increase our void weapon damage anytime we get an armor charge. And finally, the mods on our relativism, we're running a super mod, we're running a Reaper, which is very standard on this kind of build. I have Outreach and Bomber on. I'm actually going to change the Bomber to Powerful Attraction, because Powerful Attraction will suck all the orbs of power to us. And we're going to want our melee back more than we want our bomb or our grenade back, our grapple. And so this is just better. Now moving on to our weapons, the weapon of choice for this, it can be any void weapon that you prefer. I'm going to be using the 3rd iteration scout rifle, because A, scout rifles are strong right now, and B, this gun is fantastic. Especially if you have the catalyst on it. Precision final blows create a weakening blast from the target, weakening all nearby enemies. Then our main gun, we're using a strand weapon, because when we get those unraveling rounds, we want a strand weapon that can handle that. And then I'm just using whatever heavy weapon I have that's the highest light right now, which happens to be the ulterior observation. Now, to demonstrate the power of this build, we're going to be doing a Caldera run. We're going to be running on Master, and we're going to throw on some Banes to make it as hard as possible. Double solar threat, we're going to throw on this. Look at that, we're at 30-50, so we're at almost a 40 power deficit already, which is huge. We're going to have our equipment locked so that we can't gain anything, and we're not going to put any bonuses on. So we're at basically a 30 power deficit, and we're going to see how this build performs. So like I said before, once you know what the threat is going to be, you're going to go ahead and change these harmonic resistances to whatever it happens to be. In this case, it is the solar resistance mods. Now we jump in. All right, let's get started here. So we've got our invisibility because we hit a killed debuff targets just by using our grapple kill. We got our invisibility back again. So you can see how easy it is to get and keep your invisibility with this build. Just gotta reload in. Okay, so I don't actually have a way of stunning the overload champ, unfortunately. Oof. Took a lot of damage there. So we're not even going to worry about him. Since I can't stun him, it doesn't make sense for me to try and take him out. Ideally, if you know it's going to have overload, you're going to bring in an SMG or something that can stun him. Once we get our ult, we'll be able to stun him just fine, or our Prismatic. Oop. Canceled my thing there. So we're going to go ahead and dodge, get our melee back, and then we can get that kill. And look at that. Oh, that's mine. You can see we pretty much always are going to have our abilities up, as well as our volatile rounds, which is honestly the best part of this build. See, look at that. I'm instantly invisible, which means going into this fight, I don't have to do anything special. I just already have volatile rounds up. We dodge, we get that overshield, we get some healing up, and we're good to go. Look at that. Whew. Gotta make sure you stay away from that explosion when it goes off. Well, it would have helped to have my grapple there, but that's okay. But we're gonna pop our thing here, because what do we have in here? We have... Oh, he's gone. Never mind. He despawned because we finished the objective. Ah! Just kidding. So that was a waste of that, but that's okay. We'll get it back real quick. I can't say I've been up against this enemy before. I've actually never been against this enemy, so I didn't know what to expect. Doing that to get that up, so that we can hit him, get our invisibility and our void strength back. Already got our stuff back, so we're just gonna pop that and just lay these guys out as best we can. Looks like we just have to swap between doing damage between them, which is nice. Does that hit? It didn't hit, but it would have been cool if it did. Let's be honest here. Alright. Oof. Oh, they got me. That's okay. The cool thing about the third iteration with the build is when you get those weakening blasts, it counts, and so you end up getting your invisibility. Or when you kill something with a weakening blast with the third iteration, it makes you invisible. Doesn't matter what your build is. Okay, big guy. They're just ignoring my thing. That's rude. That's the hard thing, is this build is definitely better suited for killing groups of enemies. So it's not the strongest boss fighting build, but it's very good at killing groups of enemies. There we go. It's one down. Oh, you gotta be kidding. So as you can see, I mean, we've gotten our ult twice. We've gotten this 3 times now in a very quick span. So you're getting a lot of just energy back, so you have everything up at all times. Pretty strong build. I know I died there, but that was mostly my own fault for misplaying. But otherwise, I mean, you saw how fast I was getting my ult back, as well as both of the Prismatic, or getting my Prismatic back as well. And so this build, I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a better AoE build. Taking out groups of enemies, add clear, that kind of thing. Not necessarily a single target build. However, you can make it single target by switching up the ult from the Deadfall to Golden Gun or the Strand ult as well. Both of those could work. So I hope you enjoyed this build showcase. If you did, make sure you leave a like and comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.